understanding the productivity equation and then figuring out which bits of it to optimize and apply to our own lives. Hi everyone, my name is Sandesh and I'm here to share about productivity techniques, equation and few hacks which I have used, followed and experimented in my life to get more productive. Let's understand what productivity is. Getting the most out of your time, it means being effective and efficient with your work. Productivity isn't about working long hours or frantically typing away at your computers for hours and hours each day. Let's simplify this. Output divided by time is equal to so more output we can generate in less time, more productive we are. Well, first thing to understand, there is no point of being productive if you are not being productive about the right things. We want to be doing the right things for the right results. Work, study or even a specific task. The success depends on how motivated we are towards the outcome, and this largely also depends on how do we make our day look more productive. The power of scheduling your day. Predetermine what and when to do. In psychology, it's known as implementation intention. It increases the activity success rate by 34 to 91%. Scheduling removes ambiguity. For example, as David Allen says, your brain is for having ideas and not holding them. The best way to do is either you write down your plans for the next day before you go to bed, or there are multiple apps you can try to capture your ideas. I use an app called To-Do List that helps me to bring my ideas into implementation. Well, this is the most interesting part. How to schedule your day for optimal productivity. Schedule the most important tasks for the hours you have the most energy. For example, according to research, for most of the people, morning is the peak energy time. Trust me, this is apt for me as well. I just lose my energy out in the afternoon and I always conserve the energy in the morning to make sure these things are used for a specific task which are more important. According to recent research led by Robert Machok, an associate professor of psychology at Pennsylvania State University, most people are more easily distracted from noon to 4. Let's talk about this. The average person spends 2.5 hours every day on social media. Well, we all know about it. At least most of us do. Scrolling. One thing that has helped me is to either put my phone on flight mode or do a mindful scrolling. Your mindset and motivation is directly connected to what we watch and hear. So I started being mindful about the information I consume. This has largely helped me to be motivated and conserve my energy to the right things. External distractions. As James Clear says in his book Atomic Habits, our desires and our environment often influence our habits. We want things simply because they are an option in front of us. For example, if I have my phone reachable while working, I end up scrolling with no reason. It's an ultimate distraction, as we are letting ourselves to consume or feed additional distraction or information, or even getting into an unwanted mind engagement. I try to keep my phone away from me while working, and laziness in me doesn't motivate me to get up and get my phone, and this really helps. This is one of my favorites, mindfulness, breathwork or even meditating, which helps in clearing the mental clutter, pause to your endless thoughts or even at least align them. Meditation helps in building a stronger prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for the ability to pay attention and focus on your task at hand. Thus, on a neurological level, you'll find it easier to stay focused for longer periods of time without seeking distraction. To make it more easier, let's look at 5 different types of productivity techniques. Pomodoro technique. Want to work for 25 minutes and then have a 5-minute break. Work for 25 minutes, 5-minute break, and repeat this 4 times. After 4 repetitions, you get a half an hour break. Now, Pomodoro technique is an absolute classic that's been mostly used by students as a way of motivating themselves to work. The 2-minute rule was popularized by David Allen in his book Getting Things Done. And the idea behind the 2-minute rule is that if there is something that you need to do and that something is going to take less than 2 minutes, then you should do it right now rather than adding it to your to-do list. I think this happens quite a number of times in our lives. Either it could be a WhatsApp which you need to respond back or even an email. We try to avoid it or push it ahead. And this also helps us in terms of overcoming procrastination. Time blocking. This technique has helped me overcome procrastination and also to get more productive at work. As per Cal Newport, a 40-hour time block work week, I estimate, produces the same amount of output as a 60+ hour work week pursued without structure. If there is one thing that can be said about the modern workplace, it's this: if you don't control your schedule, it will control you. How do you balance the necessary evils of meetings, emails, team chat and busy work with focused time for the things you truly care about? Since becoming a digital hermit isn't an option for most of us, We need concrete strategies to help us focus in the world designed to distract you. Have the concept of time blocking. Now this is basically where you block out a certain amount of time for a particular task or a project, and ideally you stick to it on the calendar. And so when the time comes around, you actually end up doing. The 5-minute rule is one of a number of cognitive behavioral therapy techniques for procrastination. Using the 5-minute rule, you set a goal of doing whatever it is you would otherwise avoid, but you only do it for a set amount of time, 5 minutes. If after 5 minutes it's so horrible that you have to stop, you're free to do so. Mission accomplished, done. However, most people find that after 5 minutes of doing something, it's easy to continue until the task is done. Setting the intention and starting is usually the hardest part. Thinking about the task as something that may take only 5 minutes makes it feel much less overwhelming and more doable. Fifth and last one in the list, batching. Task batching is a productivity strategy that involves grouping similar tasks together to complete all at once. This technique can help you avoid multitasking and increase the amount of time you have to focus on specific tasks. For example, instead of checking emails throughout the day at different times, you check email all at once, all at the same time. Alright, so these are a few tips and small habits you can change and implement to make sure you're making the most out of your day, sure you're being productive and focusing on the things that will matter and will have the biggest impact on where you are now and where you would be by this time next year. Thanks for watching my channel and do not forget to subscribe. And if you would like me to talk about